To start, there's a very simple story from it. Our chairman and founder, Pat Stone, actually was, president of another large underwriter for a number of years, and very, very successful there. But like a lot of people, this was time to retire, so he retired. And he got bored. And then he's always had this vision in the back of his head, and the opportunity came around after the market crashed in '08 to build a new underwriter, but not, that can compete with all the larger underwriters, be licensed in all 50 states, but yet provide value and simplify the transaction. So that was his goal, to come out and find a way and build a company that we could use technology to simplify the real estate transaction process. But I think that goes back to make the real estate transaction as easy as it is to buy a car. So Pat's vision was to build and integrate the different technologies that you could, acquire companies where needed, and integrate this so we have a simple process and we can stop all the repetitive keying and thus make the process quicker and more efficient. Three years in, and they were on their second CRM at this point. They were on a second CRM, which was basically a homegrown solution that didn't do a whole lot. There was no other information. It was just that, there again, no value. So at least they stopped the one, and that didn't work. And it was like, well, we'll make our own. And it really didn't go so well either. So, we're not in the business of designing software. So they started looking for a solution that they could easily integrate with Resware, which is our real estate transaction system. So that's the system that basically generates all the paper and all the information you have to sign when you do a closing, to simplify that process. But that's where a lot of that was. So they know when new orders came in, they know when something was going to close, or if a property was listed, all that information could be fed back to the customer or to the sales rep. But being able to do that was difficult, and really die-hard productive. A lot of productive salespeople don't even like a CRM period. They've got their address book, they've got the world, they want to live in it. I didn't have a lot of input on the decision at Sugar at that time, what was going to be done or what wasn't going to be done. That was handled at a corporate level, and they were working on to try to find a replacement for that was simple. They were looking, kind of narrowed it down to Salesforce and to Sugar, and they went with Sugar, not so much even because of the cost, which is a huge cost. Sugar's a lot less, or at that time it was a whole lot less than what Salesforce was. And ease of use was there with Sugar, where it really wasn't with Salesforce, even though Salesforce will, look at all these nice bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, what can you really use? And then third was the ability to do our own customizations and integrations into some other systems to bring that in. It wasn't a huge undertaking or a large project in a lot of cases to do things like that. So it just made it simpler to work with. What we do is we do manage a lot of what we do with the agent, and is what Sugar's given us the ability to do, as well as market, is look inside and get more detailed information. Is the information we're providing to our customers, are they interacting with it? Is it of value to them? Through technology and efficiencies, to be able to share the data across multiple platforms and bring that information, current information, back in to Sugar, so the reps can act on that information, and it's providing them value. They don't have to go into 6 systems to find something. It's about being able to measure things, measure what you're doing to make sure what you're doing is effective. So we use Sugar to do that by not so much even monitoring the activity of the sales staff, but also measuring that against some other information that we have on the agent, be it policy counts, income, whatever that might be, to show growth. And before that would happen, you might have salespeople, they're concentrating on the group that they know, but there's a whole bunch more that are missed. Because one of the things we do when we train them is don't get hung up on how many calls, meetings, or anything else you're inputting in the system. That's not a job of the CRM. That's not your job, just to input the data. Use the system for what it's designed for, to provide information, answer the questions, schedule your stuff in Sugar, which syncs to Outlook, and the system will bring you value. And we started to see our adoption rate went from about 50%, 45 to 50%, up to right now, I think we're probably pushing about between 85 and 90% of our users are actively in there. If we go in and look at our logs, we can tell for the most part, 85% of our people are logging in daily. And you'll probably hear me say that again, but this way we don't make sure nobody gets left behind, that we're talking to all our customers on a regular basis and all our prospective customers on a regular basis. Now we're starting to see the value we can have in a marketing platform and do things that our marketing departments wanted to do forever. The integration of the data between the two systems never worked real well. With Market, it's so seamless. Our marketing team works in Market almost seamlessly, hardly ever goes into sell unless they're doing some research on something. The data that we get out of Market is incredible, and it's showing us our campaigns and what we do when it was successful and what wasn't successful. Prior to this, our marketing team would have to build a profile out for every campaign that went out, separately for every user. And if there was 30 reps that campaign was going out for, they had to make 30 different templates and send it out 30 times, which is horribly inefficient. Now everything goes in one. So if there's one message for anybody out of all this, it's like, use as much of a common platform as you can. You'll be a lot more successful in the end. And when I say it's making an impact, we've started to see, since the first of the year using Market, more interaction with our emails or our campaigns and things like that. So we know they're getting the data. What we're doing, or what the marketing team is doing now, is taking a look at the marketing they're doing, how they're preparing it, paying a lot better attention to the content that's going out, and then do a lot of A/B comparisons where we couldn't do that before, to say people are more interested in. The other thing that Market does for us as well is the ability for the sales reps to send out information very simply from Market via the CRM, via Sugar. So marketing can create some predefined templates that are already in there. They're in a drop-down form. They click on it, it sends out customized for them, and it's simple. Our marketing team doesn't have to do this. Our numbers are up on a lot of our in-person events and our online events. The in-person events might be just because people want to get out of the house, but we're seeing a lot better interaction with the online events because we can market to them a little bit better. It's not just a one and done, send it out, whoever responds or doesn't. And we have a dashboard built for the sales reps, and it shows them, here's everybody that was sent. Very easily they can see who's registered. But before this, we could never provide any of that to the sales rep, the entity. And between that, knowing that this entity is interacting or they're not, I guess is the best way to put that. Just to gauge their interaction so we know that we're penetrating we're talking to the correct people and the people getting this have interest. We are having a huge increase, like I mentioned, in our online attendance for things, as well as our in-person events. And how that helps and what we've done to show for better ROI on our events are these events we're holding effective? Is it worth the money we're spending on? And what we've been able to do with Sugar is two things. One, we can take all the registration information in from the event and say, okay, here's our list of people that were at the event. Here's how many unique agents we had, and how many of these people or agents or customers that were at the event were prospective agents. So now we can track from these events that here was are we getting a gain from our existing? So we've got them isolated in the bucket. You always have fallout for these things, whether it's a webinar or in-person event, you usually have between a 10 and 20% fallout. So we took the other side of that equation and took everybody that registers for these events, bring that back as well. So now we've got an A/B comparison to where, okay, you had interest in this event, but you didn't show up. Your competitor was there and learned. Now is this group progressing farther than this group? So that's how we're going to measure that, and that's what we're starting the ability to do now. Plus, we can track our prospective customers that are there to say, hey, they were a prospective customer there, they did convert, and now they're an agent and they're remitting business to us. Over the years that, we've used the other products, Acon and MailChimp and everything they wanted to do and needed, we can do this, and we can always get about 85, 90% there. She's so thrilled with the data now and what her and her team can do because they've got more time and they're more efficient than they've ever been. Initially, when we first put Sugar in and it got modeled after what was already been done, a lot of the things happened before because you're making the same errors and efficiency. You're not bringing any value with that. There's just information they can grab. but what can you do with all this data? Can you consolidate it and even use some automation or intelligence within Sugar to be a little more predictive to show them, hey, there is a lot of interest here. Go talk to these people, or they're not having any interest. You're not having any impact with these marketing campaigns or social media or even your in-person visits. So it just lets the sales staff become much more efficient and less scattered. Management doesn't have to constantly be on the phone wondering what's going on in different areas. All the regional managers can just hop into Sugar and they can see all this activity very simply. So they can find the pain points, they can find where they're stuck and move them past that. And then we learned a lot in those first few years. You know, an event that we just had here recently, you know, Pat Stone, our CEO and chairman, was up there, and the message he was delivering to our customers was like, go try the software, go try these different technologies. And we were sharing, and don't worry about failing. Learn from your failures. And we failed a lot. And, you know, he was presenting a lot of the failures that they had and kind of took the curtain off. And, you know, we tried this and it didn't work. And we did this and had great results. So don't be afraid to fail. Just try. And if it doesn't work, we move on and try something else. So Sugar gives us that ability to try a lot of different things. And then what works, great. We can push that along, and what doesn't, we just erase it and go on to something else. People are so happy now too with the going to the cloud base, because now we get updates 4 times a year. It's such a relief. Even like you like hearing people talk about, you know, how, you know, the great things that they've been able to do with it or happy they are with the product. I get that same type of feedback when I go to somebody that was one of our 50% of people that weren't an adopter, that didn't see the value in the system, going, this is great. Because our big thing with going to the cloud was our InfoSec group, especially our chief, you know, our head of security was like, no, it's too risky. We're not doing that. It's too risky to put this kind of data up into the cloud. And since then, you know, a lot of other cloud-based systems have evolved. They've worked. Our vendor management team, along with InfoSec, they validated everything that was with Cell, and they have no concerns. And, you know, for the person that heads up our security is probably one of the tougher people in the country as far as InfoSec goes, and making sure nothing gets there, you know, gets through, and we're well protected. And if it's good enough for him, it'll be good enough for anybody else out there. So don't be afraid of going to the cloud. What started to happen once we got, you know, Joe got involved, if you needed something, you could always get an answer right away. He's right there and available to us. If I had a problem, you know, if we had a problem with something, he's right on top of it. If there's stuff that's new that they just learned about, he's on the phone telling us, hey, have you seen this? Or we had a customer in a similar space did this. And be real good about providing information and giving us stuff, you know, to look for. Ron's a huge researcher. He's been in this industry forever, and he's a great resource to sit and bounce ideas off of. You know, we're trying to do, like a good example would be like our income that we've got in our system. Our income sits in a system called AMS that manages the financials for the agent, and just give us ideas that once we feed them that information. And usually it's something completely different or down a different path than we even thought of, because we're not CRM experts. We're not doing that, but they are. And to give them all that, hey, have you tried this? No, let's give it a try. And then a lot of times it works for us very well. We may have to tweak it a little bit, and then we find out some stuff and educate them as well. So it's been a wonderful experience. You're not a number, I guess is a better way to put it. You're actually an actual human being, and people, you know, actually at Sugar seem to care that, you know, what you're doing or your issues are trying to grow your business through the platform. Market has actually become a huge, probably one of the biggest wins we've had with Sugar, because we've got the two products are integrated together very nicely. Prior to that, when we originally got our original version of Sugar, and we had a purchase, but I guess that's the best way to put it. It's not installed, it's cloud-based, but Acton. And this is just about the time that Sugar had acquired Market. Well, it wasn't about the cost, it was an expensive solution that couldn't do everything that we needed it to do. But at that time, Market was there and it was new, because the next step in our journey with Sugar was to move from our on-prem servers to the cloud. And we did the whole rebuild on Sugar and launched it with the cloud version in November of last year. So probably a year or so after this, moved to MailChimp, and we got moved into the cloud and we brought Market online. Market has actually become a huge, probably one of the biggest wins we've had with Sugar, because we've got the two products are integrating together very nicely.